Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Mi Gente On Air, where we bring you Latino culture, concerns, and contributions to the Great Lakes Bay region. And I want to welcome everybody in the Great Lakes Bay region to Mi Gente On Air as we talk about an important subject that we're getting ready for on May 7th. That is the annual Cinco de Mayo here in Saginaw. So I want to welcome and bring everybody in. If you've got a question, if you've got concerns, if you just want to make a comment, please feel free to do so as we live stream here from the Alpha Media Studios, and we will broadcast this show on Sunday evening at 8 p.m. on WSGW at 8 p.m., and it will be on 100.5 FM and 790 AM. So come on into the room, and I've got a special guest tonight. She's the parade coordinator of the annual Cinco de Mayo, the 43rd annual. Can you believe it? So stay with us, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to Mi Gente On Air on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online WSGW.com. Now, here is your host, Larry Rodarte.
Welcome to Mi Gente On Air as we celebrate the Cinco de Mayo. We're coming into you live from the WSGW Alpha Media Studios tonight, and I've got a special guest as we prepare to get ready for the annual Cinco de Mayo. She is the parade coordinator, and her name is Tina Rivera. Welcome, Tina, to Mi Gente On Air.
Hi.
Thank you for being with me tonight because we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of issues that we got to prepare as we get ready for the 43rd annual Cinco de Mayo. And I know that we talked about it on this program a while back, and I'm not hearing myself in my microphones. Chandler, my producer, I want to let him know that. But we talked about it, and everybody was gung-ho and said, let's go forward. Let's bring the Cinco de Mayo back after a 2-year hiatus because of the pandemic. So we're back here talking about it again a month later because guess what? We've only got a month till the Cinco de Mayo, believe it or not. And, you know, it's really trying as we head into with limited time now. But I feel that there we go. I hear myself now. I feel that, you know, it's really important to try to get the community involved with the parade because how many parade entries would you say we have right now?
I think I have maybe about 10 so far.
10 parade entries. Come on, everybody. We got to get going here 30 days before Cinco de Mayo when this program airs. And it's really important because we are representing our community. You know, the Great Lakes Bay region, Saginaw, has had a beautiful celebration with the annual Cinco de Mayo. And you really can't say that for some of the other cities in the state of Michigan. I don't think Flint has a Cinco de Mayo celebration or Lansing. I know Detroit does. They have a big one. But ours has been very special to our community because it really has represented who we are every May. Every first Saturday in May, and you can see some of the pictures here. We have a montage of a bunch of old floats. Look at that, downtown Saginaw, probably in the early 1980s, because as we know, 1980 was the very first annual Cinco de Mayo when Cruz Castillo brought forth this celebration. There's Beto from Estrella's Bakery. He's on a float. We had the Selena float for the 40th annual celebration in 2019. And, it's just been a wonderful celebration. But Tina, I want you to tell my listening audience, how did you get involved with the Cinco de Mayo?
I think I was in my really early 20s, and my aunt was the coordinator at the time, and she needed volunteers, so I started volunteering, and I'd help just do the lineups and do that stuff, would help her out. And then she ended up moving away, and she needed somebody to take over. So I said, I'll try it and see how it goes. And it's just been a beautiful experience ever since.
It can be trying at time. We know this.
It can.
Right? It can
yeah.
be trying, but I think you've got it pretty much under control. How many years would you say you've done it now?
I think it's been almost 10 now.
10 years?
Yeah.
Wow. You're only 20, so how did that happen? No,
I wish I was.
So, I invited everybody to come into the room and talk, and I already got some good feedback here. We got John Estrada. I think he's your godfather or something, right? He says, look at my teeny. That's what they call you, teeny, huh?
Yeah.
And Chuck Medell, who has participated in the annual Cinco de Mayo parade for many years, he says, I'm going to do my application. 70 plus are coming with me. The best Hispanic parade in the Midwest. So thank you, Chuck Medell, for those comments. We as a community, back in 1980, I remember this because I remember when the parade and the festival started with Cruz Diaz, and she recruited Joaquin Diaz, who would be her future husband. And I think Mary Lou Mason was involved with. You had a number of Latino leaders in the community that came forth. And Cruz, it was important to her because she wanted a celebration that would give attention to the contributions of Latinos in Saginaw. And sometimes that we don't always get that recognition, and sometimes some of what our leaders do or some of our business leaders, entities, kind of what their contribution is falls through the cracks. And so it was really a way that we could celebrate our heritage and our culture. And Cinco de Mayo, as you know, came about in the United States as a result of what was celebrated in the city of Puebla. Why Puebla, Mexico? Because that's where the Battle of Puebla happened between the French army and the Mexican army. And the Mexican army was a lot smaller than the invading Frenchmen who came over into Mexico to try to overtake the city of Puebla. And this is in the 1800s. But the strong Mexican spirit, the strong spirited Mexican army, they were able to beat the French and keep them from overtaking the city. And so it is with that pride that the city of Puebla was celebrating Cinco de Mayo. And I think as a way for Latinos here in the United States through the years, it has become a celebration outside of the 16th of September, which the 16th of September now is the Mexican Independence Day. We have to remember that. The 16th of September is Mexican Independence Day. Cinco de Mayo is the celebration of the Mexican army beating the French. And so we as Latinos here in Saginaw, we honor that tradition, but I think it's grown to where we are celebrating our contributions as citizens in Saginaw, in the Great Lakes Bree region, and our contribution. But along with that, we're celebrating our heritage, our culture, because as you know, Tina, right, at the festival, we're celebrating with food, with music, with dance, just, all kinds of, from the ballet folklóricos to musicales that are performing at Huntington Event Park. Now, we are going to be moving, we're not going to be moving the facility, but the name change of Huntington Event Park will be taking place on April 12th, and that's going to be happening this week. And we don't know exactly what that name change is going to be, but we still will be celebrating downtown. So tell me, Tina, what does the Cinco de Mayo actually mean to you?
Um, it means a lot. Like just watching the traditions be continued and teaching our younger generation our traditions, and it just means a lot to me to see everybody out there and celebrating with us.
And I think this year is going to be a little extra special. You know, we've all been hit by this pandemic. We've been in lockdown. We've been in fear mode. We have been being cautious with masks and everything. And I think this is going to be really kind of like the first celebration our community comes out with. And although we did have a little bit of a celebration last May at the Union Civica Mexicana, we weren't able to celebrate the way we traditionally have, as a community, with a big parade coming down Michigan Avenue and the festival. So, I think this one's going to be really special. I think people are going to come out in droves because, if we didn't have it, it would have been 3 years since we actually had the last festival and parade. Now, I do want to mention the parade route typically goes down Michigan Avenue, but this year, because there's construction, the city had informed us that we're going to line up at Hoyt Park, not where we typically do, but Hoyt Park, and we're going to go north on Washington Avenue. So this is a completely different parade route. We have come south on Washington, but this time we're going north into downtown Saginaw. So just let everybody know the parade route is changing again because of construction. It's happened to us before. We've been all over the city, right?
Yeah.
We've gone south and north on Michigan Avenue, and now south, and I don't think we've ever gone west or east though.
No,
But
not yet.
yeah, so I'm informing you that now. I didn't get a
Thanks.
chance to tell you, but that's what's been happening in the last week. The city called me and they let me know we had to change the parade route. What do you think it means, the Cinco de Mayo, for you and your girls? I know you got young children, and
Hmm.
your family has extended in the last year, and
It
you're
has.
getting married in October. Tina's getting married. So, how many kids will you have under your wing?
We have 5.
5 kids. Doesn't that sound like a traditional Mexican family? What does it mean for your kids, do you think, and for you as a mother?
Well, I'm just hoping that I can continue these traditions and that we still can do the parades every year and everybody comes out in the community and celebrates together and that they can see the blessing that we put on every year.
Yeah, and it is a blessing. That's exactly what it is because, like I said, not every community has this. And I was 16 when the very first Cinco de Mayo happened, and I don't think we expected it. We didn't celebrate in that capacity at that time. We had our annual, our dances, at the Civica or other House Quinceañeras, but I think that it's been really a blessing to my generation and those who have come after me because it's something we grew up with. Now we take for granted sometimes the annual Cinco de Mayo here in Saginaw, and it's a huge celebration. When you look at it in terms of um, the size of it, we have had some really large parades, and I know that in 2019, the last one, we had Selena Quintanilla Perez's husband, Chris Perez, who participated in the parade. We have pictures of that, and he actually participated, came down Michigan Avenue, and then performed at Huntington Event Park. So that was really special, and I think a lot of people came out just to see him. We also have had
Mhm.
Michael Salgado in the parade, and we've had some other Tejano artists, and it just has been real special because we also honor a citizen who has done great things in our community with the parade grand marshal. And we've had Ernie Garza, Vanessa Guerra. We've had Mr. Ortega, Lupe Ortega. He was, I think, like 94, 95 years old, and
Mhm.
he walked that parade route. Remember, I
Yeah.
couldn't believe he did that. And
Mhm.
he was truly an American hero because he was a veteran of World War II, and he was still alive. And unfortunately, we lost him since then. But it was amazing to me to see him walking in the actual parade, and that was a long parade route down Michigan
It
Avenue
was.
for somebody over the age of 90. But we had Art Anguiano. We've had a number of different great grand marshals. Even uh, Michael Salgado, like I said, he was our celebrity grand marshal that we had back in 2009. And as you can see on the screen here, we've had a lot of old pictures from the Cinco de Mayo. And I want to encourage anybody who may have some old pictures of the parades from back in the 80s and 90s to send them in to me, because we use those. We use those to promote and to kind of reminisce and bring back those feelings of those early years, and also the pictures that we have here of today in the last 10 years with the Union Civica. Part of what the parade always celebrates is education. And we want to encourage all of the youth groups that are in our community from the schools or the churches to also participate. Look at that old picture from 2008. You know, it's about celebrating life, you know, and celebrating our contribution. And I think that as we move forward, and you as the parade coordinator, what do you find is, you know, been like your biggest challenge?
I believe my biggest challenge is getting the school bands. I would like to see more school bands. Thankfully, we have Saginaw High that comes in faithfully every year. We appreciate them. They sound amazing every year. But, I would love to showcase more of the school bands and what they can do.
Yeah. I remember one time, and I think it was in the 90s, where we had Arthur Hill High School marching band come down, and they all had Mexican flags. You know, they were carrying the girls that had the flags, and it looked really nice to see that coming down. But let's talk about that, because it is kind of important. We have not had the participation of many of the local bands in our parade. And one of the things I've questioned, and I'm not knocking what the Memorial Day parade does, or the St. Patty's Day parade, or even the annual Christmas parade downtown Saginaw. I have been at that parade in the dead of winter of December, 27 degrees, I remember, and I counted 8 bands that were performing at the annual Christmas parade here in Saginaw. And I thought to myself, here we are, sometimes 70, 80-degree weather in May, and we can only get one band to participate in our parade. Something's wrong with that. I don't know. What do you think is, you said it's a challenge, and I know you've worked really hard. What has been the response so far as we are 1 month before the parade?
Actually, I do not have any bands right now. I have not had any reach out. I reached out to about 12 school bands, and that's reaching from Saginaw schools to Bay City schools to Birch Run school. Like, I reach out everywhere to every single band in the area and invite them.
Now, Tina, weren't you also at the St. Patrick's Day parade in Bay City?
Yes.
And how many bands did you see there?
I believe there was 3.
3? Okay. So they're doing a little bit better than us, but I just don't understand it. It's been something that we've brought to the attention on social media before, and we, have called out to the drum, or not the drum major, the drum majors, who handles the bands in the schools, as well as some of the supervisors, the band directors, that's the word I'm looking for, and some of the supervisors, right, in the schools.
Yep. When I send my emails invites out, it's to the principal, it's to the band director, whoever, secretary, it's anybody I can try to get in contact with to let them know that we would love to have them.
Yeah, and I know that Birch Run is considering to come on, and I hope that our faithful Saginaw High band is going to perform, because, really what makes a parade? We know there's the floats, and we know within our Cinco de Mayo parade, the lowrider cars, and we know that what's important is the music. And it's really awesome to see Saginaw High coming, with their yellow jackets, usually because of the weather, that we never know what the weather's going to bring, but they're there, and they're coming down in our parade, and they have been faithful. And it does take sponsorships of the bands to get them to be involved, and that's just a given. We know that. And so we want to encourage anybody who's listening to this tonight, or listening on the radio broadcast on Sunday, talk to your band people out there. Talk to them in the schools, please, because we would love to see more bands in the Cinco de Mayo parade. To not have a band, I don't know. I don't know if that's speaking something about our community, or, I don't know. I don't want to open up any worms, but I have to question it myself as the chairman of the annual Cinco de Mayo, because, like I said, when I see 7, 8 bands at the Christmas parade in that cold 27-degree weather, and we can't get bands in May.
Yeah.
And I know it's a trying time because it's the end of the school year or what have you, but even if we have to get some of our Tejano bands to participate and act like they're in a band, marching band, we'll have them marching with their musical instruments coming down um, the parade route. But no, I say this wholeheartedly. I really would love to see more bands in the parade. And if you have any connections, or if your kids are playing a musical instrument in their schools, ask them to ask the band directors, and that's the superintendents of the school, to see if they can participate somehow and get involved in the 43rd annual Cinco de Mayo parade of Saginaw. So let's move on from that. So how do you feel with the applications that you have received so far? Has there been many that are actually doing a float this year?
No, that's the other thing that I think is lacking is our floats. Um, Mostly they're cars or walkers so far that we've gotten in, but not really anything on floats yet either.
Wow. Okay. Well, in the past, this has kind of been something where we have talked about as well, because look at that great picture of the crowd of Cinco de Mayo. This is really all walks come to our parade. But we've talked about that with the floats, and I have encouraged those who have are sponsors of our annual Cinco de Mayo. We'll talk a little bit about that. But we've talked about the idea that we want to see more than just cars with
Mhm.
banners on them. If you're representing a business, you get a fancy car, you get the nicest car that's available to you, or a truck that you may get, or a vehicle from one of the car dealerships, and then you put a banner on there. And that's, good enough, I guess, for some. We want to encourage that people will actually make a float, make those flowers. I mean, how many times, Tina, have you been involved where you've actually fluffed up the
Oh,
flowers?
there's
And
been plenty of years and times.
what's your most memorable?
Um, Probably doing it with my grandma. My aunts would, cut them and tie them, and me and my grandma would sit in the living room and just fluff garbage bags full of them for hours.
And what would you talk about?
Everything, everything about life with her, and
Everything in there. Yeah, that was my tia Angie Blanco, and she always seemed to make it so exciting for us.
oh yeah,
When we were putting together, whether it was a Union Civica Mexicana float or a Mi Gente float, her and my dad were always so willing to help us. And I remember even the year Selena passed away, and she was so involved in making the dress for the
oh,
girl.
that's an iconic outfit.
Yeah, that iconic outfit, right? And Dad said to me, because he was also grieving the death of Selena at that time, and he was a big fan, and he said, why don't you make a Selena float? And I was surprised that he said that, but I said, okay, Dad, as long as you build it,
Mhm.
build it and they will come. And so that's where we've been with those floats. But I want to mention here Roxanne Chintaka. She says that Saginaw High School and Arthur Hill High School bands are united and play as one. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
I did hear that they were combining the schools, so I
Oh,
was
that's right.
wondering about that. Yes.
Yes. And Nancy Rodarte Rodriguez, she says, love the band. So, I remember being young, very young, and attending the Traverse City Cherry Day Parade. I think the Cherry Festival Parade, and they had competitions between the bands, and they gave trophies out. And I mean, it was really a big to do, because you had bands coming from not only the state of Michigan but Indiana, Dundee Scots, in Ohio and Indiana, Illinois, Michigan. I think it was like a Midwest kind of celebration, and it was a tough competition. And I'd love to see where we would have that, not to compete, but to actually kind of have some incentive to bring more bands in to our parade. I'm an advocate for it. I'm an advocate for music. Music is the great unifier, and I think that it would really help in the celebration of any young teenager in school to march in a parade, celebrating the annual Cinco de Mayo downtown Saginaw, and then heading to the festival where they can buy tacos, all the tacos they want, because you're going to have all kinds of food vendors over there, from TNT to Maria's Restaurant to the Union Civica Mexicanos Patitos. There's a number, I think about 6 or 7 vendors so far that have signed up. So, I think it's going to be really a great festival. And I think, it's going to be a healing for us. It's going to be a healing for our hearts, for what we've all been through in the last year. And I want to mention that when we're going to be going into break real soon here, and I want to come back and talk about an ofrenda that we're going to have at the annual Cinco de Mayo. So I want to mention here, Lupe Zamora, he says, if I was you or Tina, I would personally go to the schools and ask if they would participate. And I believe you have.
Yep, I've done that before.
And it's something that we really need to make a statement about, and I guess that's kind of what I'm doing here. Anthony Bertie Rendon says, ask around Elgin, Chicago, Illinois school bands. Okay, Anthony, we're going to put you in charge of that. That's what it's about. I love that Anthony's on here and he's talking, because he's the next generation, and Chuck Liddell, once we're gone, once I'm gone, it'd be great to see so many of the young people taking over. And you're still young, Tina, to me. And I really feel that we need the contribution of the community, because it is their parade. It is Saginaw's annual Cinco de Mayo. Even though the Unión Cívica Mexicana is presenting this as their signature event, it is everybody's parade here in Saginaw. Not just Hispanics either. We're talking about the greater community. So please, if you can contribute, if you can get involved, if you can, encourage the bands to get involved and play, please do so. We're going to talk more about the annual Cinco de Mayo when we come back.
This is Gente On Air on WSGW.
Love the contributions tonight here in the room. We welcome all of you. Encourage family and friends to also listen in, chime in if they want, because we need the participation as we go forward with preparing for this annual Cinco de Mayo. It's a big task, and Tina here, she has been faithfully doing it for the last 10 years. Like she says, it has been challenging at times. We do have some participants that make special requests, and it can be kind of a burden, actually, I would say, because they want to be first in the parade, because they want to end first to get over to the festival, or they want to be in the last by the police officers, because they want to make the big entrance, I guess, and to do in the parade. But to me, it's all of our parade. And when you've got the lowrider cars, and you've got the bands, and you've got the floats, it really contributes to the whole festival of a parade. And those who are actually the onlookers and watching, I do feel sometimes they get disappointed if they don't see enough of the floats, or they just see too many cars with banners.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Are there fire trucks?
Yes, there is every year.
You got the fire department in there?
Yep,
okay,
they come
good.
every year.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of it. I could see a parade that was just fire trucks.
Wait, who's the one that has the big loud it's not a siren, but a big what is that? Is that a fire truck or a fire? No, it's some type of train that it has that big loud bang.
I don't know what it's called.
And I can't wait till it gets past me. No, I forget what entry that is. It's been so long since we've seen it, since 2019. But I know that the Castle Museum, they're coming in with their vehicle that highlights history. We've got the Great Lakes Bay Health Centers. They're coming in. And what other ones do we have so far?
I believe it's Thompson School's coming in.
Their youth group.
Yep.
For the students.
Yep.
The UAW, they always come in for sure.
UAW comes in every year.
That's Tony Mann and his group from Local 668. So that's always a welcoming sign. And I believe our Unión Cívica Mexicana, we are doing a Queen's float even though we haven't had a queen in 3
Yeah.
years because of the pandemic, some of our past queens have said they're going to step forward and make an actual float, and we'll probably ask them to ride it as well. Now, I am going to, well, I'll mention it in the actual show. So let's go back into the show, everybody. Continue to give us your comments and, any questions that you may have as we go into the live feed again.
You're listening to Mi Gente On Air on WSGW.
Welcome back, Mi Gente. Thank you for being with us tonight here on Mi Gente On Air at the WSGW Alpha Media Studios. And I'm so glad that we are able to talk about what's happening currently in our community. After a 2-year hiatus, we're coming back with the 43rd annual Cinco de Mayo. And I know that so many of my listening audience and those that are in the chat room tonight are ready to celebrate this annual event. We started and asked, should we bring back the Cinco de Mayo in the midst of a pandemic? Because believe it or not, we still are in the pandemic, but things have gotten better. We feel a little bit more safer, and, there's not too much of a request to wear the masks anymore, although I do sometimes. But, May 7th is a good month away, and hopefully we'll be in a better place and a safer place, and we'll be able to celebrate. And hopefully we'll have great weather. Sometimes we've had 80-degree weather, I think in 2018. And then we've also had 40-degree weather and below with 40 winds that were like causing us to shut down the parade. We thought, remember, we had to move the Cinco de Mayo over to the inside in the Dow Event Center because we had freezing rain and really high winds. I think that was in 2011. So, I mean, we've had a lot of history. We've had a lot of history with the Cinco de Mayo, and we never know what Mother Nature is going to deal us, Chandler, my producer, is here tonight as well, and I want to ask him, how often have you gone to the Cinco de Mayo parade, Chandler?
I went to one Cinco de Mayo parade before the pandemic. Actually, I think it was the year before the pandemic, but I went to Detroit.
Shame on you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're going to come this year because WSGW is a media sponsor this year, and we're going to actually be doing a live feed from the Cinco de Mayo out there at the park, and then hopefully
really
doing
excited.
the parade. Are you excited?
I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, it's going to be challenging because I like to be out there taking pictures of everybody, and I've got my phone sometimes, and I've been interviewing people as they come down the parade route. So we're going to figure out how we're going to do this because it's important, and I'm really happy to see that WSGW is going to be a media sponsor for our annual parade. And I just want to mention to everybody, to me, the Cinco de Mayo is part of the great events, those signature events that make the Great Lakes Bay region a beautiful place of diversity. And I'm talking, from the Greek festival to the Bavarian festival to the St. Patty's Day parade, and then our Cinco de Mayo. And, there's some other ones as well. But, it makes it much more of an attractive area for, people celebrating diversity and those that want to celebrate different cultures. And, we've come a long way. We've come a long way. That's all I can say about that. But, we want to talk a little bit about the festival because, as I've said, traditionally in the last 5 years, we've held it at Huntington Event Park, and there is going to be a name change announced on April the 12th this year. And one of the things that I see is really important to let everybody know is that, we're coming out of this pandemic. In the last 2 years, we have lost a lot of people. Everybody's been affected. And so the parade and its theme, we always have a theme for the parade. This year, it's in memoria for those that we have lost in the last 2 years during this pandemic. So anybody who wants to celebrate a life, somebody that has been taken from us too soon. Um, that's the theme. If you want to make a float, if you want to march down Washington with their picture of your loved ones, be our guests. That's what it's about, this parade, because we are in the process of healing. We are healing from devastating years of 2020, 2021. And, I think it's important. I think it's important for our mental state, for all of us who have experienced unprecedented times. And that's what it has been for, so many of us. And at the park, when we're there, across from the Dow Event Center, we're going to also have an ofrenda, an altar, if you will, where anybody who wants to bring pictures of those that we've lost in the last 2 years, whether it's because of the pandemic or anything else, it's going to be an ofrenda for the community, a community ofrenda that we can all just kind of take a minute and stop by and see and remember those that we lost, because we have lost so many. And it doesn't matter. It's anybody. It doesn't matter if you're Hispanic, if you're non-Hispanic. We're going to remember and celebrate their lives, celebrate their contributions, celebrate who we are as a people in this community. And so that's one of the announcements I did want to make. I have some more comments here. Roxanne Chintaka, the teacher over at Art the Hill, she says, is there help with funding transportation from the schools to the parade? There is.
There is.
Yes.
Yeah.
We typically are always making sure that we find a sponsor for any band that wants to participate with us, because, we know that there's a transportation cost to get to bus kids over to the parade route and back. And so, we do have that sponsorship available. And then Roxanne also says the Latino Action Club from Arthur Hill High School will be in the parade. She hasn't filled out the application yet, but the Cinco de Mayo parade is always a highlight of our school year.
Yep,
so
they come in
every year.
Yep,
Thank you,
every year.
Roxanne. Thank you
Thank you.
thank you for being that teacher that is, always cognizant of, the Cinco de Mayo and what it means to our community. And, so many times Roxanne has, lend her voice as well to the festival. And, she's just really been all about her culture and teaching that to the young students over at Arthur Hill. So thank you so much for that. Johnny Estrada also says, who besides Salvador Luna has a Mexican program on WSGW? Oh, you're asking Salvador Luna. I don't know, Johnny. I really don't know. And I do remember Mr. Luna when he had his program, and I don't even know where Luis Flores had his program. I think his was on a neighboring program. But I know Sal Luna way back, I'm talking probably the 70s, where he was on WSGW. And so, we give thanks to WSGW for allowing us to have this platform to be able to bring about our concerns to the community. And the annual Cinco de Mayo is something that we celebrate. And so, Tina, tell me, what do you see going forth, in the next 30 days happening, with our contributors, those who actually are contributing to the parade? What do you see in the next 30 days happening?
Well, what I'm hope is going to happen is that we get a ton more applications in, schools, bands, businesses. I want to challenging everybody right now. I want to see you guys come out and celebrate with us and show off in the pride that you have for your community, please.
Yeah, and I know, sometimes that last 2 weeks is really,
it gets
really
I'll get
busy.
busy.
Yeah, because Tina is mentioning here that we've had 10 applications in today, and today's the first week in April. Well, usually by the Cinco de Mayo, which will be May 7th this year, we've got 100 parade applicants. So that tells you how busy Tina's going to be in the next
month.
The next month. And I'm so glad she is stepping forward and taking care of that, so I don't have to worry about it. But how do you get people to participate and make that decision as a business entity or as a youth group to say, what, let's do a float. Let's, because lumber's gone up, and it's time consuming. So you really have to have a dedicated person or persons that are going to say, you know what, we want to make a difference. We want to, to showcase our business and bring attention to who we are and actually make a float. So,
Mhm.
What else can we do as the organizers, Tina? Do you think that we can, encourage people to get involved and be in the parade?
I mean, I've reached out to plenty of people. I will take any volunteers, anybody that wants to learn the ropes and wants to learn, what I do. I'm very willing to show everybody and teach everybody what goes into planning and putting it on. Um,
Because it's not easy.
it's not easy, no.
Well, you know what? I did attract somebody for you, and in this next 30 days, I'm going to go before the city council in Saginaw and invite the community. I'm going to talk with the city council members and invite them to participate in the parade. They have in the past years, and I want to see that happening. But City Councilman Michael Flores, he said he's going to help. He's going to help
Awesome.
with the parade. So I'm
Yeah.
going to assign him to you, and
Okay,
you
I'll take
can you can
them.
assign the city councilman to help us with the parade, because it's not just about starting the parade and having the lineup and all. You've got to, there's certain things that we got to make sure happens so that the parade runs smoothly.
Yes.
And I know that how many volunteers would you say that you typically need for the parade?
Typically I would like at least 10, because there's so many different spots and stuff to do and set up and just to make sure everything that runs smooth.
Yeah, because like I said, I have seen a parade where individuals have gotten hurt,
Yeah.
and so we got to make sure that we have a medic that's on standby just in case that happens. We've got to make sure. I don't know. Do we really have to make sure now, because it's going down Washington, that the terrain is not going to go and mess up our parade, right?
Well, no, I contact them every year, and so we
So
get
they
all
know.
that set up beforehand.
Okay. And one of the things I want to mention is this is a family oriented parade. We know this. We're going to have lots of kids out there, and there's going to be candy thrown. And two things: we got to make sure that the people are staying on the side and not coming into the parade route, because people can get hurt that way. We know this. And then secondly, we have to make sure that the right kind of music is being played.
Yes, please.
It's always an issue.
Always.
Sometimes we have individuals that will play some vulgar hip hop music that they're swearing in the songs, and we don't want that for the kids that are going to be listening. It may be music that you listen to as an individual, and that's okay. And we're not saying don't listen to the music. We're just saying don't play that during the annual parade. If you are, and we find out and we know, we're going to ask you not to participate in the parade next year, or we may even ask you to leave this year's parade.
Yeah.
I don't know, but we'll have our spies out there, won't we?
I'm actually getting a 4-wheeler this year, so I will be going through the parade route.
Wow.
So I can watch.
You go, girl. Rosalinda Diaz, I believe she's out in the Holland area. She says, my family were the first ones to get this all started. It's hard. Thank you, Cruz Diaz and Joaquin Diaz, mom and dad. So yes, I give kudos to them for getting it started 40 years ago. Well, 43 years ago now. And Nancy Rodarte Rodriguez, again, she says churches, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, city baseball leagues, anybody who wants to come out and participate in this parade. Cynthia Favela, she says it takes a lot of work. And Belia Vega Gomez, she says, wish I could be there, still in the hospital, but good job. And we hope that you're getting better, Belia. We know that you were stricken by the pandemic, by the COVID-19, but we've been praying for you. Belia is a member of the Unión Cívica Mexicana, and she has helped us in many different events. And we just keep praying for you, Belia, and get better so that you can be there on May 7th to see the actual parade and festival. And I need you, Belia, because Belia is one of those individuals, who really puts her foot down, and she is the one that you would see in our tent at the Unión Cívica, and she's rolling out the masa for the patitos. She was a roller, and I think I've only got Cynthia Favela volunteering so far this year, and I need a couple rollers because we know how that line is for the
Oh, yeah.
patitos, and they get mad because we're taking too long frying the patito or rolling out the patito or making the masa. So hey, it's all about the volunteers. Whoever we can get, we'll go forward, we'll do it, but we need the help. So if you feel that you want to contribute, you want to be a volunteer this year, contact Tina, contact me. Tina, give them your phone number if you're looking to get involved with the parade. Tina's going to give you her phone number, and then I'll give you mine, because we really need the help this year.
Yes. My number is 1-989-293-0329.
What's with the one?
So you gotta put the 1 in front of it now.
You do?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Something new they came out with.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Well, my phone number is 989-274-5074. And we really encourage anybody who wants to get involved, or, if there's a youth group that wants to get involved, we sure could use helping hands and, of course, the youth, because it really kind of shows them the ropes. It kind of shows them to give back to their community. It shows them to be good stewards in this community, to make this event happen, because it is a big event, and it's for everybody. And we get all walks on that parade route. We get all walks in the actual festival at the park, and we got some great vendors, like I've mentioned, great foods. We got also vendors that are selling items, Mexican paraphernalia, if you will. We've got also information booths. We also are going to have someone there who is going to be providing the vaccine for anybody who may want to get vaccinated from the pandemic yet, whether it's a booster shot or whether it's for the first time shot. We're going to have somebody there. We're also going to have the Red Cross there, and they're going to talk about and give information about what they do. So, I mean, there's a lot that's going to be happening there at the park. And Veronica Jimenez, who's a part of St. Joseph, she says St. Joseph Parish is excited to have a float in this year's parade.
Nice.
So they're coming on. Did she get in touch with you?
I don't believe so yet.
Well, Vito, as they call her, she did call me, and she said she was excited because she wanted the theme for the parade, and that St. Joseph Parish was coming on board to be a part of this parade. So
That's
thank you.
awesome.
Thank you so much, Veronica Jimenez. And I know that she's got a great sponsor with Jolt Credit Union, with our good friend Bridget Staffolino, Bridget Luby Staffolino. And I think we're going to have them on the program in the future talking about this, because as we go forward in the next 30 days, I want to bring as much attention to the Cinco de Mayo as we can. And I think that utilizing WSGW and this program, Mi Gente On Air, can really help us to bring forth a great celebration. So what else can you think of in terms of what you want the audience to hear about as parade coordinator?
I mean, just looking for more volunteers. Even if you're a high school student or a high school student and they need hours for school, we will take you. Floats, let's get those floats in. I'm still waiting on a couple of car clubs to come back. I know I've got Low for Life has already confirmed. I believe Out of Control has messaged me, so I need to get with them. So I'm looking for, I know there's a couple more out there if any car clubs are interested.
Yeah. We really want to welcome the car clubs, because parades, there's all kinds of different parades, but I know that within the annual Cinco de Mayo parade, the low riders have always been a big part of our parade. It's important, and we welcome all of them back. And the crowd loves to see those cars.
Yeah.
Yes, they love to see the cars, and it's always exciting for the young kids to see them coming down the parade route. Here we have one of our past queens. She is riding a float that was built by the Unión Cívica Mexicana. We've got the White House there. And then we've got an Aztec pyramid that she's riding, and it's going actually south on Washington Avenue there. And you can see the actual the house there that's being renovated now, the state that it was in a few years back. I think this is from 2015, I want to say. But that's Victoria. She was our queen in 2015. And we just really want to welcome the community. So thank you for being here with us, Tina. It's important. I want to give you the blessing of being, the parade coordinator for the last 10 years. And I know that you're planning your wedding, and it's, going to be a very busy time for you. But the more you plan for the community, the better you will be as a planner for your wedding.
There you
How
go.
about that? How about that? So, I want to make sure, that we also mention, within our theme of the parade, we said, in memory, we're leaving that up to everybody who
Yep.
wants to, you know, bring attention to someone they may have lost on these floats. We've had, all kinds of themes through the years, celebrando, we've had different themes, but this year, we have to take that moment, that special time where we remember those who have left us. And it's important that we do that as part of our healing process, as we go forward. I don't think there was anybody that mentioned to me that they didn't want a Cinco de Mayo when we asked the question, should we go forward with the Cinco de Mayo festival and parade? And everybody was for it. And I think it's important, that we step back and we pause for a moment and we just remember all those that we did lose, because we did lose quite a bit. Jennifer Marie, she says that the Vasquez camera, Dolores, who types this stuff in, because I'm reading this from the screen, and if you're typing it in bad, I'm going to read it bad. So, but I think she means Dolores Vasquez Cameron will have her photo booth at the festival. So
Yep.
Congratulations to that new business. They're going to have their photo booth there. We also have Tina Guerrero, who says, what about Bay City High School in Freeland? Talk about that.
Actually, I have reached out to Bay City. I have not heard back from them. And Freeland did get back to me. They have their own Little League parade that day, and it is also their prom that night. So they did reach out and, said sorry they couldn't make it, but to keep them in mind for next year.
Yeah. And, that's, like I said, it's a trying time, because there's a lot of graduations happening from the colleges as well, that first Saturday in May. But, history is important when we look back, because Cruz and Company, I believe, were the ones that took it to the city to make sure that the first Saturday in May was always designated as Cinco de Mayo celebration in the city of Saginaw. So, we can't move the dates, we can't make it where it's a second Saturday or it's in April. It's always the first Saturday. And I think everybody kind of expects that. So good job. Jennifer Marie again says that's her Facebook name. LOL. I tagged her. The Cam booth. Okay, Jennifer. And I think she was on there as well. My producer saying check the chat room. And am I missing something, Chandler? Because I want to make sure. Oh, I see what you're saying. But I just want to give Tina the opportunity here to tell us, as we're going out, we only got 2 minutes here. Tell me, what was your favorite parade moment?
Oh God, there's so many. I think just seeing the community out there every year, it is stressful, but at the end of it, it's just such a relief to see it all, how beautiful it comes together, and see the community out there.
Yeah, and you know what mine is? It was always the juggler. We had on stilts. He would be on stilts juggling, going down the parade route, and I just thought that was so cool that he could do that. And I said, one day I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be a juggler coming down Washington.
Well, there you go, Harry. Get in the parade.
Yeah. Well, and tell me, what has been your favorite float from the past parades?
Probably the Selena float because I was little when you guys did that one.
Yeah, that was 1995, right after Selena had passed away. We did a float in her honor, and so that was truly memorable. And we even went down to Detroit, and we had it down in the Detroit Cinco de Mayo parade. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've tried to encourage everybody to be a part of our Cinco de Mayo parade. It is important. It's important this year, especially because it's part of our healing process as a people. We're going to celebrate May 7th. Hopefully it'll be a beautiful weather, beautiful, like maybe in the 80s. And, we can really celebrate with the warmth and, welcome spring and welcome each other back to any type of normalcy that we've had in the past Cinco de Mayo, because in the last 2 years we haven't. And so I think we're going to be really blessed this year, and I have a good feeling. So thank you again, Tina Rodarte Rivera, for being with me here on Mi Gente On Air, and thank you for being that parade coordinator for the last 10 years. We got to give kudos to Tina because that is an awesome, awesome job that she's done. So thank you, everybody, for being with me. Until next week, I'm your host, Larry Rodarte, on Mi Gente On Air. Hasta luego. And we're live back here on the live stream. Thank you, everybody who participated in today's conversation. Lupe Zamora, who is involved with the Unión Cívica Mexicana. He says, very interesting show tonight. Thank you. And Jennifer Marie, who's also been involved through the years with the Cinco de Mayo and Unión Cívica. She contributed with, making sure that Vasquez Cameron Dolores, that's her Facebook name, that she got kudos for her photo booth. That's going to be something new that we have. And, anybody who has any questions or concerns, now's the time to ask it because, we got the parade coordinator here, and I'm here. And, we just want to make sure that everybody knows who to contact if they have a question. Now, remember, you can always get information and the applications you can download from our website, the Unión Cívica. It's www.saginaunioncivica.com. And if you go under the heading of Cinco de Mayo, you'll be able to see all that information. That kind of lets up some of the responsibility that we have as coordinators, that passing out those applications. It makes it a lot easier. But if you do need one still printed for you, you can come to the Civica on Thursdays and Fridays when we're doing the Petito sale, and we will have the applications there for you as well. Chandler, as producer of this show, what do you think? You got any questions for our audience or any comments?
I've got a question for you guys. Like, it's going to be that Saturday, May the 7th.
Yes.
What time what time? What time does the parade start?
The actual parade will start at 10:30 in the morning, and it depending on how long it actually is. It usually lasts till 12 noon, and then everybody just kind of filters into the park there. We're not having it at the island like we have had in the past. We've continued in the last 5 years, had it at Huntington Event Park. And we'll continue to do so because the facility is just awesome there, and they got great bathrooms, and they've got great sound system, and it's just a lot easier for us. So that festival will start pretty much at 12 noon and run till 5 or 6 in the evening, depending on how well our food vendors do, because once they start selling out in their food, they kind of start packing up and leaving, and that's kind of the end of the festival. But I'll tell you what, in 2019, everybody did well. Everybody was selling out. Everybody was selling great foods and great merchandise. And, it's just a really nice event for our community. And I hope that, we will continue with this tradition. Even though a pandemic knocked us out for 2 years, we're coming back. We're coming back strong. And hopefully everybody's going to have a beautiful day of celebration and love and healing and just a great, good, feel good day, right? Anything else from Tina?
No, I'm just going to encourage everybody to come on out and participate, and we hope to see you there.
All right. We also got David Guevara, who is watching from San Diego. That's always nice to see those who once called Saginaw home and still have ties to Saginaw, that they're here watching the show. And they're giving their comments too, because you're still part of us. David, don't act like you don't know the difference between pop and soda. He always mentions that. And what is pop? He says. And I'm like, don't act like you're not from Saginaw. But anyways, David, thank you for being with us here watching the show. And just thank everybody. I want to thank everybody because as we go forward, the next 30 days are going to be really trying. We really need the help. It can be really hectic. Not everybody is happy with the decisions that we make, but we try and do our best. And we're not going to please everybody, but we're going to try to please as many as we can. And we're going to go forward, and we're going to celebrate as a people. So thank you so much for tuning in again here on Mi Gente On Air. And you can catch the show at 8 p.m. on Sunday evenings on radio on 100.5 FM and 790 AM. on WSGW. So thank you again for being with me. We'll see you again next week.